The Kelthar had ruled the Andromeda sector for 12,000 years. They called themselves the Eternal Ones, beings of pure energy who had transcended flesh millennia ago. To the lesser species, the Vryn, the Takra, the Shenti, they were gods incarnate, immortal, untouchable, absolute, but they had never met humans. Jasmine Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, her dark eyes fixed on the viewscreen displaying the massive Kelthar dreadnought. Its crystalline hull pulsed with violet light, each wave a silent declaration of superiority. Around her, the bridge crew worked in tense silence, hands flying over holographic controls. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant Harry Morrison said from the communications station. His jaw was tight, knuckles white against the console. Same message: kneel or be erased. Jasmine's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. "Tell them we choose option 3. Harry's fingers hesitated over the controls. "Captain, there is no option 3. "There is now." She turned to face her crew, all 23 souls who had followed her into the heart of Kelthar space. "They think we're like the others. They think we'll bow because they're ancient, because they're powerful, because they've convinced themselves they're gods." Her voice dropped, hard as titanium. "Let's show them what humans do to false gods, Ponadi." Kelthar had made their first mistake 6 months ago when they had encountered the human colony on Kepler 442b. The colonists had refused to worship. They had refused to serve. So the Kelthar had done what they always did. They had made an example. 7,000 souls, vaporized in an instant. Their second mistake was assuming humanity would accept it. Jasmine had been on Earth when the news reached them. She remembered the silence in the Admiralty chamber, the way it had stretched and twisted until it became something else entirely. Not fear, not grief, rage, cold, calculated human rage. "Weapons status," Jasmine commanded, "railguns charged, nuclear torpedoes armed, and the prototype is ready," Harry reported, his voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. The prototype, humanity's answer to gods. "Captain, they're charging weapons," the tactical officer called out. "Energy signature it's off the scale. That's enough power to crack a moon." Jasmine felt her heart hammering against her ribs, but her voice remained calm. "Harry, open a channel." The view screen shifted and a Kelthar appeared. It was vaguely humanoid, but its form constantly shifted, flowing like liquid light. Its voice resonated in frequencies that made human teeth ache. "You have been warned, primitive ones. Your species is young, barely evolved from the mud. We have seen civilizations rise and fall like waves. Kneel and we may permit you to serve." "I have a counteroffer," Jasmine said, stepping forward. "Leave human space. Never return. Do that, and we won't show the rest of the galaxy what happens when gods bleed." The Kelthar's laughter was like breaking glass. "You cannot comprehend what we are. We have mastered forces your scientists still struggle to name. We are beyond death, beyond time, beyond arrogance." "Apparently not," Harry muttered. The alien's form flickered, darkening. "You dare mock us? We who have 12,000 years, Jasmine interrupted. "Yes, we know. You've spent 12,000 years bullying species who thought you were gods. But here's the thing about humans. We killed our gods a long time ago." She turned to her crew. "Fire the prototype." The Defiance shuddered as the experimental weapon deployed. It wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense, no explosives, no energy beams. It was something the Kelthar, in all their ancient wisdom, had never conceived of. A quantum resonance disruptor. The Kelthar existed as beings of organized energy, their consciousness held together by specific quantum frequencies. Humanity had studied the remains of their attack on Kepler 442b, analyzed every particle, every wave pattern, and they had found the frequency. The disruptor's pulse was invisible, silent, traveling at the speed of light. It hit the Kelthar dreadnought like a whisper, and gods began to scream. On the view screen, the Kelthar's form destabilized. The flowing light stuttered, fractured. For the first time in 12,000 years, a Kelthar felt pain, felt fear, felt mortality. What have you done?" The alien's voice was no longer imperious, no longer divine. It was terrified. "We made you mortal," Jasmine said quietly. "Your quantum signature is collapsing. In about 60 seconds, you'll dissipate completely. You wanted to know what humans are capable of. We're capable of dragging gods down to our level." The Kelthar's form was fragmenting now, pieces of coherent energy breaking apart into random photons. Around them, other Kael'thar ships were beginning to retreat, their sensors detecting what had happened. "Please," the dying god whispered. "Please, we can negotiate. We can—" "You could have negotiated before you murdered 7,000 colonists," Harry said, his voice hollow. "You could have talked before you called us primitives." Jasmine leaned forward. "Tell your people. Tell every Kael'thar in the galaxy. Humanity doesn't kneel. Not to gods. Not to empires. Not to anyone. And if you come for us again, we won't just make you mortal. We'll make you extinct." The Kael'thar's final scream was cut short as its form dissolved completely. Scattering into meaningless light, silence filled the bridge. "Captain," Harry said softly, "the fleet is retreating. All of them. They're broadcasting on every frequency, warning others about us." Jasmine nodded slowly, watching the Kael'thar ships jump to hyperspace, fleeing like frightened animals. She thought about Kepler 442b, about the colonists who had died simply for being human. She thought about every species that had bowed to the Kael'thar, generation after generation believing they had no choice. "Good," she said finally. "Let them warn everyone. Let the galaxy know. Humanity has arrived and we don't worship gods." She turned to her crew, seeing the mixture of triumph and horror on their faces. They had done something unprecedented. They had killed a god. "Take us home," Jasmine commanded. "We have a war to prepare for." Because she knew they all knew that this was just the beginning. The Kael'thar wouldn't forgive this humiliation. Other empires would see humanity as a threat. The galaxy would turn its eyes toward Earth, toward these upstart primates who had dared to challenge the natural order. But that was fine. Humans had never been very good at following orders anyway. The end.